A multi-million-dollar company is promising to keep the power on during peak demand surges and during power outages. Sophos wants to build an energy storage facility just north of Springfield, but many living nearby are worried it might come with environmental consequences. Francis Watson joins us live with their concerns and what the company is telling nearby residents. Francis.
Yeah, Paul, the meeting ending just a few moments ago, Planning and Zoning Board voting against recommending the project. The neighbors I spoke to say they aren't necessarily against forward progress, but they do have an issue with this lack of transparency in this particular process and say they weren't given enough notice or information about the project.
Our question here is more about transparency and clarity.
Cat Morgan Gaines property borders the proposed BESS project site, pending a zoning change of the farmland on North Rocky Lane in Greene County. Sophos Power wants to build an energy storage facility. It would use a group of batteries enclosed in containers to store and release electrical power when the electric grid needs additional support.
It's not an anti-technology. It's not an anti-progress. We definitely need grid resiliency. We need alternative strategies. We need cleaner alternatives, all those things that CU is already looking into.
But Kat says she's only been able to get a letter from the company, no additional information.
What exactly will be the composition? What sort of environmental effects? What sort of disaster management and hazard mitigation techniques are in place? What will these batteries be? What are the groundwater considerations?
Tuesday was her chance to get some of those answers at a planning and zoning meeting.
Those layers that are built in hopefully prevent any type of thermal runaway or incident.
Paul Brown with Emergency Safety Response Group works with companies like Sophos across the country. They develop proactive plans in case of a fire at battery facilities.
What we're seeing on the testing ground and we're seeing in real life, like events that's played out, we're not getting anything different from like a regular structure fire.
We just think it's fair to slow down the process a little bit to give us time to get these answers and find out just how these are being addressed. And if they are, they absolutely have our support. We'll be the ones assuming the risks. We want to make sure we will be getting the rewards.
Now, although Planning and Zoning voted against recommending the project, this will go in front of the County Commission on March 2nd, where they will have the final say. Reporting live in Springfield, I'm Francis Watson. Paul, back to you.
Thank you, Francis. Homeowners in Ozark